It is estimated that the average number of books the billionaires and millionaires read in one single year is a total of 50 books. As for them in their lives, they spend more than 80% of their whole day reading and getting informed on what is going on, what to do, and what to avoid doing. While the normal people usually spend the whole year reading just one book at most, or even none in some cases. So here are the 10 books Bill Gates recommend each and every person should read if you are serious in terms of transforming your life in a positive direction. The first book that Bill Gates recommended to be read is called Deep Work. It is a book written by Cal Newport. It mainly concerns work and productivity. This book can literally help you to handle your full-time job and also get more time to work on other things that are important in your life. If the ideas and the practices are well committed to, then the knowledge in this book can literally transform your life positively. It will help you to be able to focus without any distractions and cognitively demanding tasks. The task will enable you to quickly master complicated information and produce better results in less time. Deep work will make you better at what you do and provide the sense of true fulfillment that comes from craftsmanship. In short, deep work is like a superpower in our increasingly competitive 21st century economy. And yet, most people have lost the ability to go deep, spending their days instead in a frantic blur of email and social media, not even realizing there's a better way. In Deep Work, the author and professor Cal Newport flips the narrative on impact in a connected age. Instead of arguing distraction is bad, he instead celebrates the power of its opposite. Dividing this book into two parts, he first makes the case that in almost any profession, cultivating a deep work ethic will produce massive benefits. He then presents a rigorous training regimen, presented as a series of 4 rules for transforming your mind and habits to support this skill. The second book that Bill Gates recommended was actually by the name Atomic Habits. It's a book written by James Clear, which actually entails on the topic of habit change, either building new positive habits or undoing old negative habits. If habit change is something you want to work on, make this book your Bible. Full of straightforward ideas and tactics for building new habits or breaking bad ones. It is well organized around what the author calls the 4 laws of habit change. The book presents a comprehensive overview of the best techniques from the science of behavior change and how to apply them to habit change in ordinary life. The third book that Bill Gates recommended was the one by the name, the Assertiveness Workbook. Assertiveness is probably the most underrated skill for better emotional health. If you struggle with communicating your own wants clearly and confidently, have a hard time setting or enforcing healthy boundaries, or just want to get better at communicating and being yourself around difficult people, this book is for you. Written by Randy Patterson, a psychologist and assertiveness expert, this really is a workbook in the sense that it's loaded up with practical exercises and techniques you can start using in your life right away. The fourth book that Bill Gates recommended was the one by the name, The Mindful Way Through Depression. Even though this book was meant for people who want to overcome depression specifically, the core idea of this book is universally helpful for any form of emotional suffering. In short, feeling bad isn't the problem, it's feeling bad about feeling bad, and that leads to long-term suffering. The fifth book that Bill Gates recommended was the one by the name, Sex, Drugs, Gambling, and Chocolate. Addiction is an especially difficult topic because people have so many strong beliefs about what it is and how it ought to be addressed. Tom Horvath's workbook truly is a breath of fresh air when it comes to thinking about addiction in a straightforward way and how to go about actually dealing with any form of addiction or that of someone you love. The sixth book that Bill Gates recommended was the one by the name, How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. This is actually a book written from a perspective of parenting. Even though it's written from the perspective of parents talking to kids, the principles Faber and Maslish lay out in this book are just as useful for adults communicating with other adults. And I suspect, because the primary audience is children, the ideas are even more clearly explained and illustrated. Whether you have kids or not, this book will drastically improve your communication skills, and as a result, your relationships. The seventh book that Bill Gates recommended was the one by the name, Don't Shoot the Dog. World-renowned animal trainer Karen Pryor's book is a crash course in the core principles of behavioral psychology and how to use them to improve your life. I found many of the principles in here to be especially useful at encouraging other people in your life to make changes that they're initially resistant to. The eighth book that Bill Gates recommended was the one by the name, The Procrastination Equation. The author of the book, Piers Steele, is probably the world's foremost researcher and expert on the psychology of procrastination. The key idea in the book is that there are 4 primary reasons why we procrastinate. And the secret to effectively managing your own procrastination is to figure out which one are at play in the specifics of your situation and address those in a targeted way. The 9th book that Bill Gates recommended was the one by the name, Fucking Feelings. Written by father-daughter duo Michael and Sarah Bennett, the former is a psychiatrist, the latter a comedian. This book's central message is arguably the most important idea about mental health most people never hear. Feeling better emotionally should never guide your decision-making, and in fact, it's a recipe for suffering in the long run. A short summary about the book is that, whether we know it or not, most of us orient our thinking, behavior, decision-making, and really our whole lives around trying to feel a certain way, happy, content, amused, calm, etc. But because we don't actually have direct control over how we feel, this is a setup for staying stuck in our lives and, ironically, miserable in how we feel. The solution is to get in the habit of reorienting our decision-making process and goals around the clarification of our values and identification of reasonable steps we can take to move toward those values, regardless of how we feel. The 10th book that Bill Gates recommended to be read was the one by the name, On the Shortness of Life. I read this book every year in early January because it reminds me that life is short and motivates me to make the most of it. I know that sounds a little corny, but it's true. Written over 2,000 years ago by the Stoic philosopher Seneca, this very short book forces you to confront your own mortality as a way to revitalize your goals and aspirations for what Mary Oliver called your one wild and precious life. Well, my beloved viewers, we have actually come up to the end of the video. But before I leave, I would like to welcome all new viewers in this channel. In case you want to be enlightened by knowledge, then this is the right place to be. Click the subscribe button and don't forget to click the like button if you really liked the video. As for now, goodbye.